Welcome back, folks. In a fiercely competitive market, it's also no easy task for big brands to set up new chains. What are they doing to catch the eyes as well as the hearts of new generations of diners? Let's take a look.
China's catering service market has regained growth momentum with increasing mass consumption. According to China Cuisine Association, revenue in the country grew by nearly 10% last year to 2.8 trillion yuan, reversing a slowing growth rate since 2011. The figure is estimated to exceed 3 trillion this year. Industry insiders say in a highly competitive market, it is no less difficult for old brands to set up a new chain. Reputation will only help at the very early stage. Product and service quality are decisive in the mid and long term.
传统的大品牌，他们开的是但在
New brands set up by famous traditional brands have two advantages. The first is the halo effect, through which consumers may be more confident about the new brands. The other is that big companies are more experienced in running the kitchens and the supply chain more efficiently. This could help them start up new brands. However, after all, consumers pay for what they eat and the services they get. So whether a restaurant chain can be successful still depends on the food and the service.
关键还是看它的菜品跟服务。
New chains target different consumer groups and therefore require different approaches to manage them.
因为餐饮它讲的是一种气派。
Formal dining is about being spacious and classy, whereas casual dining is about how much revenue each square meter generates. This is different from what we are familiar with before. Casual dining is about traffic per hour, whereas formal dining is about traffic at lunch or dinner. Employees also work different shifts. Shifts for formal dining are longer, and usually there are only 2 shifts a day. Those for casual dining are completely different. There are more shifts, and some employees even have hourly
有
shifts.
人下班，就是完全不一样。
Both King Mon and Song Hello are cautious about making fast expansion at an early stage. Du believes Song Hello should continue to explore a mature business model and standardize operation, and that will in turn pave the way for fast growth in the future.
任何一个品牌的培育呀。
Developing a brand needs a process. The experience we get from running big traditional restaurants when applying in the new chain has to be tested and adjusted to meet the demand in the market and from the customers. We have enough resources and personnel to expand the business now, but we want to better standardize things. So we would be slow on expansion now, but when the business model is more mature, it's going to grow a lot quicker.
Song Hello has its own farms, pre-processes ingredients through its central kitchen, and runs a food processing factory. Du says standardized management and production are vital for chain restaurants.
餐饮这个行业呀，到后期呀。
We feel what really makes us more competitive and survive in the catering industry is intensive and integrated management. From procurement to supply to central kitchen, cold chain logistics to location selection, and standardized management at the restaurant products and services. If these things are not managed through a central system, you couldn't possibly be competitive on the products and cost control.
出品在成本控制方面，我们感觉到都不具备市场竞争力。
Du says procurement and deliveries through central management can save cost of running the restaurant, and it can increase the overall gross profit by at least 5%. What's more, a central kitchen can do more than just standardizing quality and saving costs. With support from its central kitchen, Chardon de Jade has started to work with the airport last year, running a restaurant there and delivering food to VIP waiting rooms.
The products provided could be simple but large in volume. That requirement could be difficult to meet if production is not planned carefully or there isn't a standardized production line to do the job. There are a lot of opportunities out there if we can be good at what we do. But if we can't even manage that, there is no way we can catch those opportunities.
The internet is also a key platform for marketing. The online to offline catering business, including takeaway delivery, group buying discounts, and private cooking service, grew year on year by more than 50% to over 95 billion yuan in 2014. It's expected to grow by at least 30% this year. With growing O2O catering eating into profits of traditional business, established catering companies are also taking up the new tool.
物联网在我们身边已经无处不在了。
Using the internet has become a common practice in the catering industry. Websites like Meituan.com and Dianping.com all offer purchase online and dining offline. Apart from this kind of O2O model, we hope to use the internet and do more to our product distribution.
King Mang and Songhelo have started to sell ready-to-eat Chinese snacks and semi-processed dishes on e-commerce platforms like Tmall. This helps Songhelo add millions of yuan a year to its revenues account. Both companies are hoping to expand that part of business in the next few years.
So, Professor Jia, can you tell us about this so-called standardized management? What does it mean?
Right. Well, you know, Chinese food or Chinese cuisine, by complexity, it's harder to standardize compared to some other type of food. But the dilemma here is, if you don't standardize the operation, then it's really difficult to expand in terms of scale. Right. So a partial solution now is to use so-called a small restaurant plus central kitchen strategy. So basically, most of the production will be done at a central kitchen and be delivered to different branches. And this is actually empowered or facilitated by a very sophisticated and comprehensive IT system. And I think the data generated by the IT system is particularly valuable and helpful. So you can basically look at this data and do a lot of analyses that will tell you the operation efficiency of your restaurants, and you can also plan ahead based on the feedback from the data.
Standardized and high-tech management.
That's right.
So, Professor Jia, we talked about this internet era many times before, and now this O2O model is taking over the business world. How has this O2O model impacted the restaurant business?
Right. Well, I think the internet has now revamped pretty much all traditional sectors. It definitely has a huge impact on the restaurant sector as well. I think a lot of our traditional restaurants are realizing the power within the internet space. So they're trying to use the internet platforms to do online marketing, online branding to attract a larger population to come to their restaurant. And also, I think some of the traditional restaurants are also trying to work together with companies like Baidu Waimai or Meituan or Ele.me to use their service to deliver the food to the customer's home. Right? So I think this is how the traditional business is able to work with the internet companies to enhance their service quality and operating efficiency.
I see. Well, Professor Jia, can you comment on the future prospects of this market?
Sure. I'm actually pretty optimistic about the future outlook of this market for several reasons. The first one is obviously China is a hugely populated country, so there is a very solid demand for restaurant business. And second is we are seeing increasing urbanization trend in China, which leads to a higher rate of dining out, right, among people who are getting busier and busier each day. And third reason is because the purchasing power among Chinese citizens has also increased over time. So more and more people, we're seeing more middle class, basically, and they actually prefer to dine out quite frequently from time to time. So I think that's why the dining business, I think the outlook is actually quite rosy.
That's definitely the case, Professor Jia. I can't remember the last time I cooked a meal at home, right? Well, thank you so much for all your insights.
Thanks so much for having me, Tracy.
Folks, the restaurant business in China is indeed fast growing and the future is looking ever so bright. Thank you so much for joining us today on New Money. But if you have an interesting business case to share, please make sure to email us at newmoney@cctv.com. And thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you at the same time next week.